Second push day, if we can call it that, shoulder day. But we're always starting with a chest movement here. Close grip, bench press of the Smith machine. Kind of a tricep / chest movement. This is probably going to be my last week doing this exercise. I really want to switch to a dumbbell flat bench press, hopefully from next week. Well, I'm definitely going to try next week, and then hopefully I'll be able to keep it in the routine. So yeah, I'm absolutely exhausted today. So I'm just going to get through this session to the best of my abilities and just see how it goes. Not expecting any PRs, but I'm definitely feeling closer to 100% now. Still got that little bit of cough that is lingering, but that's just going to be there for a few days still, I think. It's always the last thing to go. So yeah, let's go for it. Not sure if I'm doing a working set just yet. Probably just gonna feel it. You guys are probably sick of watching me doing this exercise. Not bad. I think I'm going to stick to this, but go for a slightly higher rep range. Okay, first working set. The song choice today is an interesting one. You guys probably don't know this, but I'm very passionate about music, and I consider myself someone that has a very wide taste in music. I like a lot of different things. And I just discovered this band, and I think they've been around for a while. They're called the Swans. I'm actually not a massive fan of their music, but there's one particular track that I'm listening to at the moment. It's actually 33 minutes long. But I find it really, really interesting because, especially the beginning of it, there's a repetition of the same chords over the course of like a minute and a half to 2 minutes. It's literally the same chord over and over and over again. If you don't know what a chord is, it's essentially a mix of different notes, but it's the same sound over and over again. And that in music is called ostinato. It's when you're repeating the same thing over and over again. And I just find it really interesting because, we talked about repetition on this channel before, right? And when I listen to it, it does something to me. I can't quite explain it, but I do think that there's something about the repetition, even when it comes to music, where even though you're repeating exactly the same notes, you discover something different. There's something else in it every time the note is repeated. And it definitely does something to you. At least it does to me. So I'm going to listen to it now and see if I can squeeze maybe an extra couple of reps, seeing how fucking exhausted I am today. Oh, by the way, the song is called Bring the Sun by Swans. Let's get it. Felt good. Change of scenery. Trying this overhead press machine just for today. I really wanted to throw into the mix. I'm just tired of not being able to do anything overhead. So it hurts a little bit when I do it, but it's not crazy, especially if I keep more of a neutral grip. So I'm going really light, just to getting used to the movement again, and just training a little bit more elbow flex, a bit more shoulder flexing, really. So yeah, just getting used to the movement. That's all. That's what I'm telling myself. Anyway. Just need to flare the elbows out a bit more. Starting to go. Feeling my front delts. Feels all right. A little bit of the upper chest. Happy. You know the deal. Drop sets. Slightly heavier than usual. You see. Feels good today. Real delt machine. I don't think I ever filmed this exercise for you guys. Mostly because where it's placed in my gym is just really awkward. It's between machines and there's always people around. It's very difficult to film, but today the gym is pretty empty. So I think we've been quite lucky in that sense. So the whole point of this exercise is to train the back of your delts, right? Which is basically 1/3 of the delt. And one of my clients asked me recently what I think, which muscle group I think is the most underrated or undertrained. And I thought it was a difficult question, and I would definitely love to know what you guys think. But I definitely think that on average, the rear delt is definitely trained less than the other portions of the delts. I mean, there's a reason why. I mean, the side delts should constitute the majority of the session when it comes to training delts. But I do think that the rear delt, when it's nice and round, it really gives the shoulder a much fuller look. And so it's definitely worth spending time on training it multiple times a week, even in isolation. Amongst all rear delt exercises, the rear delt machine is definitely the best. It puts you in position, you can stabilize it. Even if you don't have a great connection with that specific muscle, you can still train it really well. And it's also great to learn the movement overall. But generally what you want to focus on is just the extension of the shoulder. And that's essentially what the rear delt does. But I think with that, where most people go wrong is trying to move the scapula, which is kind of intuitive. If you're bringing the arm back behind the body, you will feel like abducting the scapula, moving the shoulder blades. And that's usually what you focus on while you're rowing as well. But this is kind of the opposite of that. If you really want to isolate the rear delt, you want to keep the scapula in place and move it as little as possible. So with that, what I would suggest to do is to push the chest into the pad, depress the shoulder, protract it slightly, and just really think about extending the arm. You should almost feel like you're jamming the shoulder out of place. That's almost what it feels like initially. And one of the biggest cues that I can give you is just to really take your time with that. Don't rush the movement. Slow it down, especially during the negative. Once you've got the rear delt hooked, you can feel it engaged. Hold it there. Don't rush the movement. Slow it down. Let the connection build up over time. Let that proprioception increase over time. And every now and again, every few reps, just reset. If you feel like you're starting to elevate the shoulders, push them down. If you feel like you're starting to move the scapula, reset and then carry on. This is one of those exercises that you probably won't be able to go to muscular failure to absolute failure to start with. You're probably going to need some time to build up that proprioception to be able to actually get there and bring the rear delt only to exhaustion. At the end of the day, it's an isolation movement, so that's primarily what we're trying to target. But yeah, just to finish off, the range of motion here is actually more limited than what people think. You really don't need to bring the arm across all the way back. As long as the arm is parallel to the torso, that's literally all you need. The further back you bring your arm from this point onwards, and the more you're going to be prone to use the scapula and adductor and, and get your mid traps involved essentially. So yeah, these are the biggest cues, and I'll show you what that looks like. Really trying to not move the scapula at all, not elevate the shoulder. Fucking hell. My head shakes like a little bit. So what we're doing here, 2 straight sets and a drop set to finish. Okay, we did some dumbbell lateral raises and we're finishing off with some front raises, pronated grip at the cable with the easy bar. I don't think I filmed this exercise either, but it's a pretty good one. I used to do it a lot in my first years of training just to really isolate the side delts without getting the traps involved as much. Fun fact, if the elbows are pointing out, so the shoulder is internally rotated, you're going to be getting the side delts more than the front delts. If the elbows were dropped and I was, doing my front delt more with a pronated grip, then it'd be a bit more of the front delts, but elbows out, shoulder internally rotated means side delts. And that's why even though it's a front raise, you're going to be using more of the side delts. So yeah, the easy bar feels good. There's an attachment with this, but you could be using a straight bar too. So proud chest, knees soft. You lean into it a little bit. This usually helps to kind of counterbalance with the weight, and then you raise them up. The rest pause in this. It's quite nice to rest pause this one. Literally just rest it on your thighs. See if I can squeeze extra couple of reps without changing position. Just realized I squeezed my glutes slightly to not get myself out of position. Works quite well. Probably looking really flat by now, but body composition is definitely starting to improve again. Getting closer to where I was. And the rest definitely did well to my shoulders overall. So to recap what we did today, Smith machine, close grip bench press, 2 heavy sets and a back off set. We did a shoulder press machine, neutral grip, with a little bit of thoracic extension to get a little bit of the upper chest as well. And no heavy sets there, just did 4 straight sets between 8 to 12 reps, but it wasn't to absolute failure. It was actually quite light. I was just testing waters with that essentially, but it seems like I should be able to keep it in my routine, which is pretty awesome. After that, we did the shoulders lateral raises machine. Absolutely love that machine. I'm so happy that I can do it again essentially. So we did 3 double drop, not 3 drop sets, no double drop set, just a simple drop set. Starting from 8 to 12 reps and dropping it once, about 30% of the load. That felt really good. No pain in the shoulder at all. So happy. The rear delt machine to medium sets between 8 to 12 reps and then a double drop set on that. Then we did some dumbbell lateral raises, did 2 rest ball sets with that, and then a final from raises exercise at the cable. Did 2 rest ball sets on that as well. And that was it. So yeah, just to finish off, my philosopher self. I don't even know if I actually like that word philosopher. I definitely don't identify as one. And that's probably something that we should talk about at some point, the process of identification, because I definitely don't identify as a bodybuilder. I don't think I identify as anything in particular. I might identify as a bodybuilder in the moment that I'm training, so while I'm training, that in the moment, if that makes sense. Because I do think that the process of identification is kind of inevitable, like it's going to happen no matter what. But I think as you grow a little bit older and you start to really understand yourself, then I think identifying yourself as somebody or something, as powerful as it is, it's also very limiting. So, you know, the way that I try to see it when it comes to myself is that I am me and I do things, as opposed to I am a bodybuilder or I am a coach, you know. But anyway, we can probably talk about this topic, which is quite vast, it's quite big, another time. What I wanted to touch on today is the relationship with the pain and how powerful training is in that sense. I was talking about this with my dad specifically. My dad is, I think, 65 right now, and he's only just getting into the gym, which is quite funny, but at the same time, it's quite interesting to see what his process is as somebody that always used his brain and his mind quite a bit. My dad is a psychologist, but never really used his body much. It's interesting to see what his process is at his age, getting into a sport, getting into the gym. And he raised a very important point, which is the relationship with the pain, because pain is obviously part of life and it's inevitable. And I think, you know, the more pain you're tolerating and potentially the more happiness you're going to be able to experience as well. I think, you know, the more you're capable of tolerating the lows and the more you're going to be capable of experiencing the highs, if that makes sense. And I think the gym, just sports in general, but specifically bodybuilding, training to absolute failure, you know, training hard the way that we do, it's such a powerful tool to build that relationship with the pain, to really learn what it's like to, you know, to push yourself to that extent. It's not even suffering, because I think pain and suffering are 2 very different things, but pushing yourself to that extent, it really sets the standards for everything else, because obviously we do it physically, but the real push, it happens in here, right? It doesn't just happen in your body. So I just, if you're watching this video, especially if you're watching it up until this point, you're definitely into the gym already. So you can probably relate to what I'm talking about. But, you know, for anybody that is looking to start, I do think that the gym is such a powerful tool to just really build that relationship with that part of life that is pain, which is something that instinctively we tend to stay away from. But in reality, it can help us grow so much, and it can help us experience the highest of the highs. This is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here, I'm posting one vlog a day for a year straight. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.